Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for another Sims 3 speed video where I am renovating Sunset Valley from the ground up and making some changes in the in Creator World. That was a really loud thunder strike. I'm sorry, there is thunder and lightning at the moment, so you're just gonna have to bear with me while I just deal with that, because I really want to get this voiceover done. And yeah, the weather outside is horrendous. So today I am pretty much doing some work in the suburbs. So first of all, I'm just kind of going around the world and looking for any sort of quirks or oddities that need to be fixed. So the first thing that I've done here is fix the road that I can't remember what the name of the street is. I don't even think it has a name because no houses are actually on it, but it is the street where it kind of meets the intersection of the Americana home, and it doesn't actually line up with the lot. It actually overlaps the lot, and so I went and fixed that. And then I'm just going around and playing with some street lights and all that stuff. Here I'm just editing Erin Kennedy's lot because that also doesn't line up with the road, so just fixing that and making sure it's all neat. You will see me place a few extra residential lots, and they're just in places where I feel like, you know, houses can be squeezed in. So here's one of them. I'm adding another lot to Sim Lane, and yeah, I think I might put like a starter home here because I feel like Sunset Valley lacks a decent amount of starter homes. Like there's only a few, and yeah, so I might just put a starter home here. Now I'm adjusting the road to accommodate this extra lot so that everything lines up nicely. I think I've said before that I just can't stand it when lots don't line up to roads and when there's like grassy patches or like a grass gap between the road and a lot, so I do my best to try and fix that. I did some experimentation with landscaping and you'll see me kind of do some initial landscaping. I did cut a good majority of it out because I end up changing kind of the style of landscaping that I did, but I am kind of the goal that I want to do is, especially around the houses and kind of places where you, the player, and also your Sims are going to spend a lot of time just kind of making them a bit more visually appealing. And this is one of the areas where I'm going to do that, but also a few other areas in town. And yeah, it's just to make the world look a little more detailed, and you know, it'll be good for screenshots and all that, and just, I guess, immersion. So at the moment I've just changed up this path, and now I'm just going and fixing the terrain. But yeah, so there's a few extra places that I do some detailing, and I will probably just chip away at that over time because it is very time consuming to do the type of detailing that I've done. It's not like really extravagant, you know, hyper realistic detailing. It's just making the world look a little more full and kind of getting rid of like really big open spaces with not much in it. So yeah, and now I am just adjusting the size of this lot here that's just up the road from the single mom's household. And this is probably, I think I'm gonna put a wedding venue here, or like a community venue. This is always a good spot for it, in my opinion. I think I've done it a few times now where I've put a wedding venue there. And up here I'm just extending Pinnacle Point just to add a few more lots. And I also don't like how the lot is at the very end of the cul-de-sac. Like, it just looks weird, and so I just extended it out and added a couple of extra lots at the very end of it. And then I go and just add some trees and stuff just to fill it out a little bit. But that's not the type of detailing or decorating that I'm doing. It's just me slapping down some trees. The detailing is a bit more towards the end of the video. I kind of, when I was doing this part of the renovation, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do in terms of landscaping. So you would have seen me place a lot just on the beach there, and I do want to have like a little pier, but where I placed it there, I end up changing it, and that's because I placed that lot because I want to have 2 festival lots in Sunset Valley. So one of them I want to be the main kind of festival grounds that isn't the park. I don't like the festival grounds to be in the main, like the central park, because I feel like that just looks a little too crazy, and it, you know, the town ends up looking like there's a traveling fair, you know, all year round. So I do like the park to kind of stay just a neutral park where, you know, you can just go and hang out and play for tips or whatever. You don't have to deal with any of that festival stuff. But there will also be a couple of festival grounds, and I'm going to have a separate festival grounds for summer where it will be based on a pier, and it won't be a huge festival lot, so I might have to kind of be a little conservative with what I kind of use for the summer festival, but there will be another lot for the winter, spring and fall festivals. I just came back to this area here just to fix up that path because it was really bumpy. Some of the paths are a bit bumpy, and you know, as much as I like to have like a flat kind of smooth path, it's just not always possible without messing up the I guess blank lots that surround it, or any sort of lots that surround it. So sometimes there will be bumpy paths, but I mean, I do my best to try and smooth them out. So yes, that's the plans with the festival grounds, and yeah, you'll see me kind of, oh, here I go, I've taken out that other pier and I've just decided to put the pier on this end here. It doesn't go all the way into the water, and this might even change, like depending on how I'm actually able to get it to look. I might just scrap the idea completely, because I would have liked it to be able to go into the water, but yeah, it doesn't quite reach out that far. So here's some landscaping that I actually did earlier and I didn't end up liking, so I'm just coming and redoing it, and then I cover up the wall. I'm just like the hillside there, and I'm just like, you know, I'm just going to have a blank hill. But then later on I come, and once I've kind of got a better idea of the type of landscaping that I want to do, or what I kind of got the feel of what I thought ended up looking better, I come back and do that. I did add a path from the cemetery to the goth house, because the goth house, it's facing towards the graveyard, but and kind of like the front of the house is oriented that way, and it kind of just goes to a grassy hill, which is a bit weird. So I made that a bit more kind of obvious that is the front of the house, because I was always confused when I first played this game. I was always confused that they always entered in the side of the house, and it's obvious now that the front of the house is the part that orients towards the cemetery, but it wasn't so obvious to me when I was playing when this game first came out. And so just to make it a bit more obvious that the front of the house is the part that orients towards the graveyard, I just put a path up there. I was thinking of doing a dirt path, but I feel like a paved path looked better. But yeah, I'll just play around with it later on if I end up not liking it, because it does look a little out of place. I'll see if I can do anything with it, but yeah. Now I'm over towards the stadium, and I just added a couple of community lots here just so it was a bit more urban, because this is like a venue, and you know, it hosts big sports games and concerts and all that, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I added a couple of community lots, and one of those community lots I'm definitely going to make into the sports bar. I feel like that makes a lot of sense, you know, having a sports bar right next to the stadium. So I guess any Sims who work at the stadium, once they've finished work, or even before work, they can drop off to the sports bar, which will be next door. Also, the stadium, the lot doesn't line up with the road. Like, it's a square, or like one tile to two tiles actually too big. So I just fixed that, and I'm going to redo the stadium lot entirely. So back to the beach, and I'm just kind of rearranging the landscaping. I added in a beach sign because I did take one away when I got rid of the road. I think that's actually Water Lily Lane that I made into a cul-de-sac. But yeah, so there was a beach sign on that road, so I just put in another one, seeing as I took the other one out. And just doing some landscaping to make it look nice. Having an issue with moving the plants because yeah, it can be really finicky moving plants and trees and stuff and trying to grab the right thing. And then going in with some terrain paint just so that there is a bit more detail. And yeah. So this video actually took me a lot longer to get out than I had anticipated. A lot of this footage I'd actually pre-recorded. But I didn't. Oh, now I'm doing some routing as well, just doing the places where Sims can't route. But yeah, the plan is for me, because I'm doing renovating in The Sims 4 as well, and the plan is to do like one video Sims 4, one video Sims 3. So kind of every second video is going to be The Sims 3. I don't know why there was a pause there, but I've talked over it, so I can't cut it out. But yeah, so every second video is going to be a Sims 3 video. This video took a little longer to come out because I was going through hell renovating the Spencer Kim Lewis house in The Sims 4, and that just took me almost a week to renovate. And so this video is a little late, coming out a little later than I'd like, but it is coming out very close to my other video. I do try to stagger the release of my videos by having them come out at least 3 days apart, but yeah, this week it just wasn't happening. And there may be instances where sometimes there are delays between releases, or releases are very close together. So this area here is actually where I'm putting the main festival ground. So it is a small lot. I think it's only a 30 by 40, but I don't really need that much room for the festival grounds. I do want them to be kind of, I guess, not intimate in terms of spacing. So I want them not cramped, but intimate. So I've given it a smaller lot, and really this was just because I couldn't think of anywhere else for it to go without it looking stupid. I was kind of conscientious of the fact that if I put it on the kind of the what would I call that, the terrace, I'm going to call it the terrace, where I've placed a bunch of those lots behind the town center, or I guess in front of the town center that overlook the beach. If I put it on there, then if you looked at the town from the water, you would just see the big crazy festival and like the haunted house and the snowboard ramp, and that would just look a bit crazy. So I wanted it to be kind of tucked away, so I just put it in the corner of the town here next to the town hall. I made a little bit of space for it, and yeah, here I'm just doing some landscaping so that it just kind of looks a little nicer next to the lot. And this is where I start to, not quite, but where I start to kind of change the style of landscaping that I'm doing. I was, like, I guess initially I was really trying to copy EA's style of landscaping, where they just kind of placed random bushes. But that just, I feel like it just, whenever I did it, it looked weird and stupid. So while I'm doing it here, this isn't the type of landscaping that I really stick with. It's more of like a sprawled landscaping that I go with, rather than just random kind of blobs of plants. It's kind of more spread out. Yeah, I kind of don't even know why I left this in, to be honest, because I don't even know what to say over it. Here I am trying to copy EA's landscaping, and I suck at it. But now I'm kind of going into the landscaping that I actually kind of continue with for the remainder of the video. So bushes that are really spread out and look more natural that way rather than just being so random. Placing some rocks as well, some big rocks, some small rocks, and then going in with some terrain paint underneath them. And I think I'm just doing a dirt terrain paint here as well. This area here has some kind of bumpy footpaths. I don't know if I'm going to fix that or not, just because if I do, it might affect the elevation of the empty lot next to it. So now I'm coming back and revisiting this place here, and then I was like, did it need some terrain paint? I tried fiddling around with it a bit, but then I took it out, and where do I get to it? So I took all these bushes out, and then here, yeah, I start doing it a bit more sprawled, and this just looks so much better. How the bushes just kind of go out in lines, almost like tentacles, and it just makes the area look more lush and full rather than just blotchy. I don't know, that's how I kind of imagine it looking like before, just kind of blotchy, whereas this, yeah, I'm much happier with this. So there's a couple of areas that I do this, but as I said earlier, this is something that I'm going to chip away at over time, because yeah, it did take me a while to do this sort of landscaping. So I may even start building, and then, you know, when I feel like it, just come in and do some landscaping around the place. So I've come back to this area and I've just decided to revisit it. So I went with some bigger rocks this time instead of smaller rocks, just making them go into the hillside here and playing around with the orientation of them so they don't look so bulgy. And then, so we're starting off with some extra large rocks, and then I come in with some quote unquote small rocks. And then I go in with some even smaller rocks just around the corners there and in the little nooks and crannies. And then I come in with some bushes and all that, and I feel like this this kind of I guess rock formation looks way better than the one that I did last time. And I think maybe the one that I did last time was a bit crap looking, because I did it not long after my game after Creator World crashed, after I had the first time that I went around the world and fixed all the street lights, and then I started doing the landscaping here, and then it crashed. And so I had to start it again. So I pretty much had lost motivation to do it then. So I guess this is probably why it looks a bit better this time around, because I'm feeling more inspired and I've got this kind of better landscaping technique, this more sprawling landscaping technique, and it just ends up looking way nicer. Coming in with some terrain paint, and then I will move on to some more rocks. I guess because there is a rock formation, like I didn't want them to just be on one side of the footpath. Like I wanted it to be, wanted the rocks to be on the other side of the footpath as well. So maybe there was like a landslide or something at some point, and the rocks just came all the way down the hill, and here they are just lying in the ground. More terrain paint. I mean, to be honest, landscaping isn't the most interesting thing to talk over. It's literally just me placing plants and rocks and some terrain paint. More bushes over here. This is in between the new lot on Sim Lane and the bachelor's house. Going with some rocks, and yeah, and the bushes that I've stuck with are the same bushes that EA used for decorating Sunset Valley. So everything is very seamless, and nothing looks out of place, because as I've said before, like I do want this to maintain the Sunset Valley look and feel. So I'm using all of the base game plants, with a few exceptions here and there. There are some spaces where I've added in a couple of trees, not from Sunset Valley. And then this landscaping I'm doing here is kind of like an extension of that swamp lot, and yeah, this is just to kind of give the area more of a organic feel, so it looks like the lot blends in with its surroundings a bit more. So the same types of plants that have been used on that lot, I've brought them out to the world around it, and there's might be a few other instances where I do that, I guess, depending on the lots that I renovate, particularly around the stadium, because there isn't much landscaping around there, but I haven't renovated the lots yet, so I don't really know what kind of plants and stuff that I'm going to use. But I feel like once those lots are renovated and built, I will go in and do some more landscaping around them. And then this is behind the Wainwright's house on Maywood Avenue, I think. And yeah, there was just kind of like a big empty grass patch there that looked kind of dumb. So I just livened it up with some more bush tentacles and some azalea plants. Lots of pink in the landscaping in Sunset Valley. So I am continuing on with that theme. Now, in a moment, the screenshots are going to start rolling. So I'm going to leave you to enjoy those and say thanks so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to bring this to you. This will be available to download when it's ready. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you later.